and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rock Show with Connor Farrell. Today, our guest for fans of Godsmack and Audio Slave, it is Jake Cope. Okay, cue intro. Boom. Now that we're back from the intro, we got a little bit of rapid-fire questions. We're going to start with that before moving in and delving deeper. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so question number one. What is one of the first artists that you remember really getting you into music, getting you into drumming, getting you into rock, anything like that? What's one of those first touch points?
I've said this before on other podcasts, and I'll say it again till the day I die. Rush. Biggest influence of all time for me was Rush. I remember being no more than 4th, 5th grade and just hearing, classics like Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and just going, oh my gosh, that's what the drums are all about. And that's really what got me into it. Another big one was The Police, Stuart Copeland. Get out of here. Loved it. And then as I got a little bit older, went a little softer into like Dave Matthews, a little Coldplay, and then mix up with some 311, and then big into Foo Fighters and Green Day. But, I'm not going to give you the whole discography, but yeah, that's Rush would have to be my biggest influence is Rush. Yeah.
Okay. So what's one Rush tune that you would give to try and indoctrinate someone into being a drummer?
Ooh, it's more of a B-side, but it's my absolute favorite. Is called The Anarchist.
Really?
It's on their last album that they had before they retired. The Anarchist. Just my absolute favorite. Starts with the toms, heavy and hard, and just a masterpiece of a song.
Not YYZ?
YYZ would be a good one. Yeah, YYZ.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That was always the hardest. Like that was a warm up for me where I knew I went from being what I thought was intermediate to advanced on guitar when I could play YYZ.
Oh, get out of here.
It wasn't hard. Yep. When it wasn't like insane, but it was just kind of like I have to focus, but I can do it.
Chops now. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Same for drums. You can play that on the drums. Yeah. You're a little more than intermediate. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what you're doing. Yep, well, let's take a detour. We'll get back to the rapid fire. But when do you know? Let's start. How do you get into music? Let's just start here. You Rush, The Police. Give me that whole thing.
Yeah. Started my older brother got a drum set for Christmas one year. I must have been 8, 9 years old, and just remember going down and sneaking down and playing on it all the time, and just loved it. Got into that, and so the fact that I had a very musical family too, big family, grew up Mormon, a lot of siblings. Everybody was musical. We'd sing in church, all of that stuff. So I kind of grew up around music. Did the standard piano lessons that I hated when I was younger, but grateful now that my mom made me do it. Thanks, Mom. But that's how I got into that. Was just a musical family, musical upbringing, and just latched onto the drums. Loved it. So it's kind of how I got into music. And then did, like the classic through high school, marching band, jazz band, great background, learned to read and write music and learn all the theory. So that always helps to open up your creative side more. But yeah, I've just been into music since I was a kid.
Yeah. So were you playing in bands and stuff once you were kind of doing outside of high school? How did that start?
This is going to date me in how old I am. In high school, my first band, I'm 16.
Okay.
And it was some college students. And I was the only high school kid, and we played at a couple of bars, and we recorded a CD. That was a big deal. Like, whoa, you have a CD out? This was like mid-90s where people, were still like recording on the cassette tapes from their stereo and stuff like that. But so played with them, and then took a little 2-year break because I was Mormon. I went and served a Mormon mission. And in that time, I grew up in Provo, Utah. One band that I was in was a little tiny band called Time. And the singer, you might know him, his name was Bert McCracken from the U's.
Oh!
So me and Bert were in a little band, and he was this nerdy little guy. But he just could belt it out and just sang. It was just amazing. I go on my mission. He forms the used, and they got really big while I was gone. I was like, "Damn it, Bert, you got big." And his drummer actually went to high school with Brandon. Is that his name? Steinbach. Plays with Rancid. But
Oh,
they
wow.
they played together back then. And when I got off my mission, I was in another band that was going to tour with them. I'm the one that kind of made that implode to play with another band. So I've played a lot in the scene back in the day, more like 2003. Got to play stuff like the Warp Tour, if you remember that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Um, Opened for a band called Lifehouse. That was probably the peak of everything before I had kids and kind of took a hiatus from music. But that was fun. Early 2000s, a lot of emo bands. I was in an emo band myself. It was fun stuff. We played locally, toured regionally. Just loved it. So yeah, that was the
Yeah.
early days. And then
Wow.
yeah,
That's cool.
raised some kids, raised a family, and finally got back out to Vegas. And I'm like, you know what? I've got to chase my dream of playing music again, and out here starting back up again. So yeah, I got lucky and found my way into a band out here.
Sweet. So how about we pick it up there? How's that going? How did you find yourself in a band? How did this happen?
So yeah, I don't know if you know Rollo Tomassi. He's a author of a book called Rational Male. He has a podcast that he does every Sunday. Talks about you know intersexual dynamics and relationships and all that kind of space. I'm listening to his podcast while I'm moving from Dallas out to Vegas, and he goes, "Yeah, by the way, I'm trying to start a band. And I'm looking for a drummer, and I'm just driving them all. Pull over right now." So I pull over, and I instantly text him. I said, "Hey, you might not see this, but dude, I want to be your drummer." And 20, 30 minutes later, after he was done with the podcast, he hits me back and goes, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And I'm like, "All right, let's
Oh, yeah.
go, let's go." So I got out here and I met him, and we just um, had one or two band practices together, just me and him, and it just instantly felt good. Felt like, all right, this is gonna work. We need to make this happen. So we found
Good.
a bass player and got a good singer. Great singer. This kid can actually sing, and it makes me excited. 'Cause, it's nice to be in a band where someone can actually sing and hold their own. So it's great. We're still getting our first couple of songs put together so we can start recording and play some shows pretty soon. So we're hoping in the next month. I've pushed them. I said, guys, before Halloween, we need to play somewhere. They're like, yes, we do. I'm like, yeah, we've pushed it off. We have so many people asking, when are you guys playing? So hopefully before Halloween. That's the goal.
Woo! Before
Yeah,
Halloween, yeah. Oh
we'll
my
see.
God.
We'll see.
Okay. Okay, so you said you got a singer who can sing, which isn't too common.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
With auto tune and everything else these days. Yeah,
Oh, I tend to write songs that are easy to sing that sound good, even if because that's the thing is I can be a good singer, but I don't want to. What if it's an off day?
yeah, yeah, yep.
I'm
It's
not
crazy.
that good. I don't
Um,
know what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I love it because we'll be in practice and I'm just going at it and playing, and I forget that this isn't a recording. This is the kid singing. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's actually really good. Connor, shout out to you, Connor. He's
Oh wow.
really good. I'm like, okay, he can sing. Yeah, bass player is amazing. So
Yeah.
it's just we all have the right elements, but we're all adults and we all have real jobs and real things going on. So it's hard to get us all together in the same room. But when we do, it's electric, it's magical, and it's going to be great when we play out our first show. Yeah.
Man, okay, so what are you guys looking at? Are you looking at doing an EP? How many songs are you thinking putting together?
We've got 6 right now originals, and then we're going to throw in maybe 1 or 2 covers. We're just trying to get enough to do like a 30-minute set, nothing crazy,
Yeah.
to either open for another band or do a shorter set on our own somewhere. Um, there's a couple local venues here in Vegas that we've been eyeing and scoping out, so hopefully we can make that happen soon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess have you guys thought much about I guess what's the 10 years from now for the band look like? That kind of thing.
Yeah, down the road.
Yeah.
I'm all about, taking things as far as they can go. If we want to do a mini tour with another band, if we want to record, we've got a lot of originals that we can put down. So yeah, I would love to actually record some originals. In the day of the internet now, you couldn't do this back in the 80s. Get a couple of songs, throw them out there. Just takes one or two now. One or two good hits for you to just go
Yep.
viral, go big. That would be awesome. That would be like a dream come true. So, keep throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. So, keep
Yeah.
recording, keep playing, and just who cares if people love it or not? I love it. They love it. Like I always say, I think it was Phil Collins or somebody said, if I could make the audience feel a fifth of what I feel up there on stage, that's a success. Because that's something money can't buy. That feeling of performing on stage, it's like a drug. It's euphoric. It's pure magic. So that's what I'm chasing, is that feeling out here.
That feeling of magic.
And
Yeah.
if,
Yeah.
if women and money and things like that come
Oh
along,
yeah.
great.
Yeah. Well, so let me hit you with this. I'm chasing the same thing, brother.
Yeah.
I've been playing. And I'm only 21, but I've been playing in bands maybe like 6 years now, and I'm
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I need more of that. I'm like,
Yes. Yep. It's the best. Yeah. It's the best feeling. Well, I think that gets, a lot of us in our teen years gets us into that, is that
yeah,
feeling. You feel it once or twice and you're like, okay, I want this. I want this to be a part of my
yeah,
life. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, so that's kind of interesting because for me, I kind of stepped back and looked at it and I said, I see that the comedians are doing this thing where they've got podcasts,
mm-hmm.
and once they get to the point where their podcast is just big enough to start, being full time, they're able to buy back an extra 40 hours of the week, and
Yep.
they're able to get way better. They get way better
Yeah.
sounding stuff, and they already have the audience. So then once that hits, it's like boom.
You're smart. You're doing it right. You're doing it right. This is the way to do it. Yep.
So Jake, when are you starting the podcast?
Yeah. I've talked
I
to
need
Rollo about
brethren
that.
out
Like,
here.
Rollo, he's like, just do it. Right.
Yeah.
What's funny is though, I told my son the same thing. He's
Uh-huh.
my son's 19. He's also a
Congrats.
drummer. He's better than me. Better than me. Kid's phenomenal.
Does he need a
And
band? I need a
no,
drummer.
no, I need to hook him up with you. Tate,
Yeah.
come down to San Diego. His name's Tate. But I
Woo.
told him social media is the way to do it. So I said, hey, look, just put out little
Yeah.
clips of you drumming here and there. And just from doing that consistently over the last month or two, he's gotten gigs, he's gotten work, teaching,
Wow.
and little things like that. I'm like, just keep that consistent, and things are inevitably going to happen. You have the
Yeah.
talent, put it out there. It's who's brave enough to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is phenomenal, and it's going to work for you. Yeah,
Well,
for
well,
sure.
thank you. I sure hope so. Yeah.
No, for sure. Yep.
And well, I'll tell you because that's the intermediate goal, the first step. But then
Yeah.
really after that, it's I want to have something where it is the size of like something like Joe Rogan, because I see
Okay.
that a comedian, he brings them on, and after bring them on once a month, maybe the whole year, and by the end of the year, everyone who would have liked him from his audience sees him, right?
Yep.
And then him being on the show, that comedian now is able to go and get on other bigger shows, and before
Yep.
you know it,
Yeah.
they have a podcast too. Like Theo Vaughn's got this huge podcast, and I
Right.
just always knew him as a guy who was on Rogan every once in a
Yeah.
while
Just
doing,
once in a while here or there. Yep. Yeah.
yeah. And so that's the end goal, is to like, I think we should shoot up all these little rock podcasts, these little nodes in a network
Yeah.
of little
Yeah.
MTVs.
Yep. No, I like what you're doing. It's a good way to,
But no one's joining.
Yeah.
I'm the first one,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's
No,
nothing
keep
special
that
about
up.
me.
You gotta be good, or you gotta be first, or both. So yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just how the world has changed now. It's all, a lot of things are digital, a lot of
Yeah.
things are online, which some people love, some people hate, some people shy away from it. They're like, no, I don't want anything to
Yeah.
do with that. And it's just I'm kind of that way too. You got to embrace change. You got to embrace the future. I mean, that's the only constant is change. You can't stay in the same rut your whole life and expect things to work. So yeah,
Yeah.
good for you branching out and doing it.
Hey, well, thank you, but let's get back to complimenting you. So I was listening to this Hawkeyes. Is that one of these emo bands you were referring
Oh
to?
yeah, yep. That was called Rated Hero back in the day.
Oh, right.
Like rated PG or PG-13,
Yeah.
Rated Hero. And yeah, my band leader's like, hey, can I change it to Hawkeyes? I'm gonna upload some stuff. I'm like, do whatever you want with that old stuff. But that's yeah, that was the stuff that we toured with back in the day. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's the band I
okay.
was talking about. We opened for Lifehouse, and did a couple little other tours.
Winehouse. So are you still friends with Mr. McCracken? Are you guys still buddies?
If I called him up, yes, we would talk. But I haven't talked to that guy in years. Yeah, I think he moved to
Okay.
Australia. If I'm correct.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. But no, I
I was
love
gonna,
Bert. Yeah,
yeah, I was gonna say maybe you get him on Access Vegas, and then you get him
there you go.
on
Yeah, fly him
your
out.
podcast,
Yep.
and then be like, hey,
Oh,
we got this new band. We're looking, maybe play some festivals, do some tours with big bands.
right.
You know any?
Hey, sometimes it's all about who you know in that industry. Yep.
Yeah, well, also being good, which, if you're saying you started out with Rush and then the Police, and these are your touch points, and going off what I heard, okay, so you're good. Now, when you say Godsmack Audio Slave, what's kind of the songwriting process with this new band? Does Rollo come in with something? Is it the singer? Is it you?
So for these first six songs, it's songs that
Yeah,
Rollo wrote back in about the same time, 2003, 2005, somewhere in there.
really?
That he wrote with somebody else, and we're taking those and going to recreate them and play those. And then we've also started to write originals. Some of the originals is just
Uh-huh.
Rollo will start with a riff, and I'll give him either a halftime or a double time or whatever, and see what kind of feel. Excuse me. See
Yeah.
what kind of feel he likes. And sometimes you know how guitarists do it. You'll be like, no,
Yeah.
it's something like. And I gotta like dissect your little do 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 do. I'm like, oh, okay, so like this. He's like, yes, like that. Or I'll do
Yeah.
something. He's like, no, 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 not at all like that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Or I'll think of something that to bring into it. And he's like, oh, I totally thought a different direction, but I like that instead. So it's
Yeah.
we're very open with the creative process. We're not scared to step on each other's toes or anything or hurt each other's feelings. Like, dude, if you don't like it, tell me what you
Yeah.
think, or and so it's been working out really well. Um, it's I forgot how much I like writing. I forgot how much I like the writing process and just creating and um, that moment where like something you're playing and you both see each other and
Ooh.
it just clicks and you're like, okay, that's the verse. We're keeping that. Okay, we got to transition into the chorus and just how that it just kind of unfolds all at once. That practice. That's when the best songs. I mean, they say some of the best songs were written in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it just naturally came out and it just worked. But yeah, so far I like the chemistry. That's the word. I like the chemistry of the band. It's working.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always an important thing, that moment where you're saying, right? Where it just clicks.
Yeah.
You go,
Yep. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
And
an
oh
aha
yeah.
moment. Yeah.
I'll tell you my song, I have not had, a crazy career so far. I'm going to be world famous in a week or two, but
Hell
that's
yeah.
until that happens. No, I was going to
Yeah.
say, my best performing song for my band so far was one that I wrote, in a couple minutes. And I
Yeah.
didn't think nothing of it. I was like, I like this song. If you know Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes, right?
Yep.
The song right after it on the album is called Black Math, and it's just like two power chords. It's like pretty simple, but it's just catchy. And I took it. I was like, instead of doing dun 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 ding 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 ding, I was like, let me just literally, I just like moved it down 2 frets,
Yeah.
and and then I wrote, I was like, different melody, and then before I knew it, I was like, oh, and I'd play it, and
Work.
live it's our biggest song. It gets a pop.
No
Like, people I
way.
haven't
Yeah.
talked to in forever, yeah, they have like on their workout playlist, they're like, dude, I listen to that every time I'm at the gym every day. They're like, dude, it's like the second
No.
song on the playlist.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that, like you're saying, where
Yep.
you're just like, how did, yeah,
Yeah. And everybody, takes from everybody else and recreates from everybody else. One
yeah.
of our first bigger songs with Hawkeyes, Rated Hero. I didn't know who Lit was. Um,
Oh,
Please tell me
tell me
why
why.
cars in the front yard and I'm sneaking through the window. Anyways,
at
The
night
singer shows me that
and
song after we'd recorded ours, and ours is like, you know, we're like 18-year-old kids at the time. Ours is just
yeah.
off by a couple of chords, a couple of notes, and everything, different lyrics. But I was like, you guys totally took parts of this song here, and oh my gosh, you took that chorus. But we recreated it into something of our own, and it worked, and people loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of that. There's a lot of stealing from other people, but
Oh.
it's just creating something completely new and on your own. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to create.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting too. I guess I'm thinking about, like, for me, I'm starting to do, if I didn't have my microphone plugged in, but you can see I've got my little audio interface. And at this point, I'm just sitting here like, I write out a song, I'm able to record it on there. I'm just using Logic Pro and I've got the built-in stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Logic Pro's good. Yep.
it's got built-in amps with like Sims. It's got, anything I could want, like a Vox or a Marshall or an Orange, or like,
Yeah.
it's got to rip off of all these amps. It's got built-in drum samples. I'm like,
Yep.
do boom, boom, do, and then I can just write something. I can send it over to Buddy, who's like a prog guy with like a 17-piece kit with mics on
Yep.
everything, and be like, "Hey, you want to bang out this Devo cover real quick?" Like something easy.
Yeah.
I'm
Love it.
doing for Halloween. I'm doing like a kind of like a heavy metal version of Whip It, and I'm going Witch It,
Oh,
and
nice. Witch it.
yeah. Which is good. And I've got this whole thing with my band Black Licorice where I'm rebranding it, but I'm doing like a cartoon puma who's like,
Yeah.
a mix of like a James Bond, Indiana Jones type, the most interesting man in the world, Dos
Yep.
Equis. And so I'm like, I made the whole song about how he's walking around the estate, and then these witches, they capture him, and he wakes up and he's in a pot, and they're like, and it was so funny because at the end of it, I was
Let's witch it.
working on this. Which is good.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does he get out of this situation? And I'm like, he's in the pot. Does he try and bargain? Does he try and plead? And my brother's like, I almost said the F word. I'm trying to keep PG-13. He's like, he's a flippin' puma. He just eats them. He rips them in half. He's a fucking
He's a
puma.
puma.
He's gonna murder them instantly.
Oh
You're
my
like,
god.
duh. I was like, oh yeah. So now like in the middle of the song, it's like, what will he do? And it goes, oh wait a second. Music drops out. I'm a puma, and then just like ripping witches for like half of, like a whole
Oh,
chorus of
I
just like
love it.
sound
I love
effects.
it.
That's what I was gonna say. Is now I can do this. I can do this on my laptop. And
Yeah. Yep.
so are you guys gonna like go into the studio? Do you have producers? Because I imagine someone like Rollo. I mean, he's had friggin' Robert Kiyosaki. Like Rollo,
Mhm.
what's his like connections and Rolodex for when it comes to like recording and stuff? What would that even look
Right.
like?
Yeah, like I'm sure he's got access to a great studio or somebody that can help us record. But yeah, we would love to. Yeah, obviously do it in person, do it live, however many tracks we need to do. But yeah, I can't wait to lay down some stuff with him and record. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Freaking sorry, Witch It. It's just that's so great. That's so great, man.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah. But yeah, yeah. It's just like it's the very beginning formation of something amazing, and it's just going to take off. And whether 5 people come to our show or 5,000, I don't care. It'll be so fun to play live again and just recreate that magic, and then to again record. That's a good feeling too. Go in a studio and actually record. I just recorded my first song, just like you were talking about. I think I used the same thing, Logic.
Yeah.
Had a song that was stuck in my head for about 5 years. My buddy, who was in Hawkeyes, the singer, he's got a whole studio in his basement, and he helped me bust it out. And it's just, there's no better feeling than writing something original and producing it and going, that's mine. I did that, and yeah, I want to do that more and more with Rollo. That'll be sweet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because I think that's an example where you're like, he's got an audience that's a different subject matter. But
Yeah.
I've always heard him talk about Trial of Ascension. He always goes, "Oh yeah, my '80s, I was a rocker
Yeah.
dude
Yep.
in Hollywood." And so it's like, you wonder, you're like, when you guys go to play your first show in like Vegas or somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
is it going to be 500 people? Is it going to be 5,000? Is it going to be 5? And because
Yeah.
either way, you guys are going to be good, and so it's going to build no matter what. But
Yes.
for me, I've got a curiosity, and I wonder, do you guys as a band think about like, what is it going to be? Are we going to book a venue that's like 100-person and then it's going to sell out, and then like 3 nights in a row sell out? Like, what? How do you even like factor that?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. I know it won't be 5 people.
Okay.
I've got at least 5 girls on my guest list that are ready to come,
Oh,
So
good.
it'll be a good mix of strippers and friends and,
Yeah. Rock and
But no,
roll,
we're
dude.
looking at about, like you said, like 100 to 300-person venue. Nothing
Yeah.
crazy, but we're going to absolutely pack our first show because
Good.
what better feeling than to just pack a show and play it? So yeah, we've got 2 or 3 venues that are exactly that.
Oh, good.
Little venues might hold 300, 500 max.
Yeah.
Probably more on the 300 side, but yeah. Just, a dirty little dive bar. Just somewhere where people are slamming whiskey in the back while we're rocking up on the stage and just having a good time. And, inviting the right crowd, it'll be a fun, I think that's why we're taking our time, because we're like, okay, our first show has to be a fun show, make people come back and want more. And, so I keep pushing them. Hopefully it's by Halloween, but we'll see. We'll see. It'll be worth it once we do it, though. And that'll get the ball rolling, and then we'll play more. But that's the goal, is to pack that first show.
Man. Yeah, so you're saying the right type of audience. So how do you go about that? And you're doing the MOA stuff too. And then I watched Action
that's partly that.
I was gonna say, and there was a girl on there, and I think Rollo said something like, "Is Jake gonna get lucky tonight?" And they did Magic 8 Ball. I think they clipped that. And so what's that all connection? You're plugged into the right people. What's this scene? What's this whole experience been like?
Yeah, I obviously I didn't know Rollo before I got out of her, but now it's just social circle. It's getting in with the right people, being yourself. Obviously, some people are going to like you, some people aren't. But it's just taking chances, getting out there and talking more. I think a lot of us get too introverted and too stuck in our our apartments, our houses, and just scared to go out. If you just allow yourself to be a little more free, a little more open, opens way more doors. So yeah, it's just meeting people, making connections, and it actually works. All these things that they teach about, like you can be friends with women, and not sleep with them. Just be friends with them. And that actually works. I know, shocker. And it works out well, because you know who the best wing people I've ever had are? Women. The best dates I've been on have been set up by other women. Yes.
No way.
I work at a strip club right now, so I'm friends with a lot of strippers. But I'm just friends with them, and they are friends with me, and they do their job well.
Yeah.
So they build. I mean, what a better way for a drummer to meet some women than to hang out with strippers, right?
Yeah, and so let's take a second. So I always think about this when I do the next show. I'm waiting for the podcast to be making money for me to tell anyone who ever doubted me, I shove it, Yeah. And so once I'm at that point, that's when we're booking the show. And guess what I'm booking? Yeah. I'm booking the 100-person venue so it can be flooded on the road. I'm going to book a party at San Diego State here where you can only fit 200 people max in the house. I want the streets. I want the police to come. I want it to be shut down. And here's the thing is too, I want, this is what I think about is Michael Sartain talks about IVE, irrefutable visual evidence. They can't refute it. They see it, and they see you with high status people. They see you with these hot women like the strippers, and the monkey brain part of us, the psychology, Rollo might say reptile, right?
Yeah.
It goes, oh, he's with them, high status, big, cool. Yeah. I want to be cool. I want to listen to them.
Just by association. Yeah. Just by being in the same room. Yep.
Do you think about that backstage photo from the first show? Do you think, who do we want to get backstage with us, with the girls, with, you know what I mean, with the crowd in the background? That photo, I mean, that'll probably sell you a whole stadium tour.
what is that called? IVE,
Yes,
irrefutable visual
irrefutable
evidence.
visual evidence. That's
Okay,
what
I've never heard that,
Sartain
but that's
says.
exactly what that is. Yep, yeah. And when you're in the moment, you're not thinking about it, but it
Yeah,
happens, and afterwards, you have the pictures, you have the photos, you have that memory and that quote clout. Now, I guess
yeah.
is how it's built organically. Just
Yeah.
Um,
What if Dan Blazarian's in the photo backstage with you on stage? You got Dan Blazarian, the band with your back with the crowd behind you,
yeah,
screaming fans, all these hot girls on stage. I mean, who's gonna not book you? Who's gonna
right,
not listen to the music?
right. That's the promo right there. That picture, you just send that out, booked.
Yes, yeah, that's the
You're
music
not
video.
wrong. Yeah.
That's the
Again,
clip.
yep, yeah, that's the clip right there. Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
god.
You're not wrong. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe we might have to make this a good first show, even if it has to
Yes.
go past Halloween. Whenever it happens, we'll
Okay.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because knowing Rollo, he's got people up his sleeve. He'll have, I'm sure he will have 2 or 3 guys that'll volunteer that'll want to come and take
Yeah.
pictures and film, and so we'll get the visual evidence there that we can
Yeah.
use clips, and that's just how you do it. That's how a lot of people do these things now. Sartain, when he goes out,
Yeah.
he's always got a buddy or two filming him along the way, doing interviews along the way. Just it's kind of how you have to be your own brand and build yourself up.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole new world. Hopefully,
Dude.
can make some magic happen.
Yeah, I want my Jake Cope. Is it Cope? Is that how I pronounce it?
Yep, cope. Yeah,
I want my Jake Cope coffee mug. I want my, I want like
right.
Gene Simmons. I want the face.
Uh,
So,
uh,
are you guys thinking about a visual aesthetic or something like that? For me, I'm super anal retentive, so I'm like, look at me, I'm wearing a friggin' ascot. I'm doing this whole thing.
yeah,
I'm a white boy from like Phoenix and from San Diego, so like I didn't grow up wearing nothing, but I'm doing
yeah,
this because I'm like, I have a vision.
yeah.
I'm
You
a
got a
rock
brand.
star.
Yep,
Exactly, and
got to brand
I'm an
yourself.
eccentric guy, and it's easier for people to see that coming a mile away than me to have to explain it.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. Like that's part of our delay is we want to be visually cohesive, so that if you saw us out in the crowd, you see that guy and you go, "Oh, he's part of the band." Not to the
I can
extreme of
dress
like
up.
Kiss, where we're
Yep.
painting our faces and we're all,
Yeah.
but almost to that point where it's like, okay, that's the band.
Yeah.
You're not like everybody else in the crowd. You have a visual appeal that sticks out, and yeah, you've got to brand yourself. That's part of the gig. It's like being an actor. If you're doing a
Yeah.
Renaissance themed thing, you've got to be dressed in the right periodization and all that. So it's being a rock star. You got to look the part. You got to act the part too.
Yep.
Not arrogant and cocky, but just confident. And I'm gonna crush tonight, and it's gonna be fun. It's just it creates its own atmosphere, and that's part of it. Is you have to be kind of thoughtful about that. Make
Intentional.
sure you're all cohesive, intentional. That's the word. Thank you. Yep. So yeah, we're looking at how we're gonna dress for our first show, how we're gonna present ourselves. All of that goes into it, and then the
Yeah.
music too. Obviously, has to be dead on
Well,
point.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. But that's the funny thing is, and let me get your take on this. But this is the current state of rock. I think the labels used to do all the other stuff beside the music, and they were the people concerned with that. So that's getting
yep,
you out in front of people, having a visual, thinking about strategy of like, what song should we really put out first from the record? It shouldn't be the
yep,
18-minute prog metal ballad. It should probably be
yeah,
the song that people are going to like. Um,
yep,
you know what I mean? And I have an 18-minute prog song on my hard
yeah.
drive right now, so I'm not immune.
It's waiting. It's
It's
waiting for
oh,
that
it's
B side. Yeah.
I love it, but it's some neckbeard type of stuff. I shouldn't be putting it out. And it's just like boner
Great
kill, lady
description.
boner kill. Speaking of
Yeah.
lady boys, no, I'm kidding. No. What was I saying? Oh, the aesthetic,
Yeah.
intentional.
The
So the
aesthetic
labels
and
used to do all that, but
yep.
now
Whole PR
I
team.
think we've got everything together, and we've got people who know how to do all that stuff, the branding and all this stuff, and the videos, like you're saying, with like Certain and these guys. But we're all independent. We have to like kind of assemble each other, and so it's
Yeah.
like, and so thinking about that, I'm thinking about what's the current state of rock, what's in the future, and what do you think that is? What do you see as that current state? Maybe they're
current state
10.
right now, there are a couple
Yeah.
of bands out there that are keeping it, you know, cool and together and like bringing back actual rock. Like
Yeah.
I think it was Dave Grohl saying, "Hey, just play. Just get into your garage with your band
Yeah.
and just play live. Play live, play
Yeah.
loud. Don't worry about, the mistakes or whatever. Just we
Yep.
need that rawness coming back because obviously
Yeah.
we've all gone online, we've all gone digital. You can create anything in these programs, create any sound you want, but who can do it live and who has that badass like fucking attitude about it? That's being lost. So I think that needs to be brought back. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking like hookers and blow, but I'm talking like
No.
just like that attitude of where are the rock stars now? There are a lot of neckbeards out there,
Yeah.
but I think
And
people are craving some grungy, hard live rock. It's just it's yeah, it's an art form that's either I don't think it's dying. I think it's has a resurgence right now. I think it's coming back, and it's when you see it, you appreciate it. When you see someone that plays live really good and just has that attitude about it, it fires you up. So hopefully, it's
yep.
not dying out. You know, hopefully,
Yeah,
Gen
I think
Z can make
I
it.
think we're entering at a period like you're saying, Gen Z. I think we're going to be in the best period for rock. I think we're going to have this
Oh,
renaissance. I because I see once. Here's the thing. Let's say Rollo starts doing like a rock show and he brings on bands once a week, or maybe he like says Access Vegas every other time we have on like a newer band that's maybe got something like 40,000 followers, 80,000. Like there's some of these bands you'll
yeah,
see on Instagram and TikTok, and they're posting clips. There's one from Phoenix that I went and saw when no one knew about it. It was like a year and a half ago, and they were just
yeah,
playing like the best songs from Megadeth and Metallica and Slayer, and their whole thing was we are basically like thrash metal, TM, like trademark. We're the stereotypical, and they dressed like it, and now they're doing well. And you're just like, I think like if someone starts doing a show, they get these bands on. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do, and
yeah,
I'm taking time
yep,
with it. But I'm like, I think if you're someone like Rollo and you guys like. You've already got credibility. You've already got an audience. You know what I mean? And so you can just be like, hey, audience, you like rock music? There's us. There's this. And you can just point them. And then I think they
yep,
get them doing their own thing too. And it's just like, boom,
yeah,
boom.
yeah. Well, just like you're saying, anything can go viral in this day and age.
Yeah.
That wasn't an option back in the '80s, but now it is. And so, yeah, um, yeah, we need to make rock again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
the work you're doing. It's
No,
worth it to
I love what
just
you're
keep
doing.
going.
But no,
Yeah,
but
just
see, this is the thing is you're doing it.
trying to keep it alive. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the
And
thing. Look, I
mhm,
I am older. Like I'm twice your age.
yeah.
43, 21, and
Yep.
we both have that same love. We both, I was there in my earlier days, 21, 22, 23,
Yep.
playing a lot back then, and
Yeah.
just, took a good decade or so off. But the one
Yeah.
thing that came back, I'm like, Jake, what do you want? And I'm like, I want to drum again. I've always loved that feeling. I want to rock again. That doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. So
Yes.
that's what I told my son. Just embrace it, roll with it, keep it up, and don't ever let that spark die because that's what life's about, man. Like
Yeah.
creating, just yeah. So I think I hope that rock comes back. I hope that thrash metal, all that stuff, just fucking
Oh yeah.
comes back with a roar.
It's coming. It's coming,
Yeah,
and that's the thing that's gets crazy is it's happening. And what's crazy for me is I've ran the numbers on this stuff with the podcast thing. I realized so this is going to go out on Instagram. It's going to go out on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, all these places,
yeah.
right?
All your
And I
platforms.
figured out if you have 40,000 followers on one of these, let's take Instagram for example,
Mm-hmm.
you get 20,000 views an episode. You get 20,000 views an episode, you can get advertisers paying you, 3 advertisers, you can get $1,200 an episode. And you do
Wow,
8 of those a month, you're making 10 grand. Let's say
that's
you
crazy.
do
Yeah,
five, you do five a week instead. Now you're making, 25, 24 grand a month. And you're
yeah,
just like, throw it back into the band. You throw it
yeah,
back,
yep.
all of it, like, take off some to live if you're doing it full time
Reinvest
now.
it. And, yeah,
And I found out the conversion, this was just from one band I interviewed. One
Yeah.
band. They said they put in $300, and within 2 weeks on an Instagram ad, they had gained 200 followers. And if each of those is half a viewer, right? I realized I'm like, okay, that's $30 a person, and it only
For view.
cost whatever, like $1.50 or whatever, and you make an extra dollar back or extra whatever. I don't know. Okay, now I'm doing math. You make like $2 back
Yeah.
in perpetuity off your $1 that you put in. And so I'm just like, oh, the money's here. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have the following yet, but you're just like, and so it's funny. I'm talking to some of these bands where they've got 80,000 followers. I'm like, guys,
How are you
just
not?
do a
Yeah.
podcast, and you're all you
Yeah.
hit the
And
point.
you're
You hit
there.
the inflection.
Yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
that's part of it is build that following, build
yeah,
that following, then monetize.
yeah.
And then buy more drums with it.
Buy more. Yeah, exactly. Well, then get
Uh,
Zildjian on board, right? Then get
yeah,
a
exactly. Yeah, get some
get a
sponsors going.
sponsor.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's we're in the very tiny little fetus stage of this whole project,
yeah,
Rollo. But I can tell it's going to be something beautiful.
yeah.
And ironically, they're texting me right now, seeing when. Oh, okay. Seeing when we can practice next. Looks like Friday, so a couple
There we
days.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, and so are you guys settled on the name Jynx? Are you working other names? Is
So
what's
far,
Mhm.
yeah, Rolla came up with that. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, nothing's set in stone right now, but so
Yeah.
far it's sticking. So we're gonna stick with that. Why not?
Yeah. What's better than
Um,
something like Sweat Puppy or Meat Pocket, right?
yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Well,
no, it's fun for especially for being a Vegas band. It kind of works.
yeah.
Jinx just kind of, it's
Luck,
not bad.
karma, that
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, dude. That's weird. Okay. Well, when are you guys gonna start doing interviews? Okay.
We gotta play a show first, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But if you want to promote the show, you could always come
Oh
on a
hell
friendly
yeah, for
neighborhood
sure.
podcast.
For sure. Yep. Yeah.
Sweet.
Bring the whole
Yeah.
band on next time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Get me. I could fly out to Vegas.
There you go. Come
There
out.
we
We'll do it in
go.
the actual studio, Red One Studios.
Yeah.
We'll
So
record
how's
over
that?
there. Hmm?
How's Red One? Is that like? Do they have
It's
a? They
pretty
have a.
cool. Yeah, I've been over there just a couple times. Rollo's, had me help him set up some stuff. So I used to do construction, so I've gone over there, hung some
Okay.
TVs, hung some lights, helped them build some chairs. Just get the studio up and running more. It's pretty cool. They've got 3 or 4 podcasts now running out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that where you
It's
guys are? Oh, you cut out. Sorry.
oh sorry. Yeah, they've got a good little studio they've built over there. Yep.
Yeah. So is
So
that where you guys are rehearsing out of?
no, that's just for
Okay.
podcasting. We rehearse down the street at a studio called Griffin Studios. They're right there in Vegas, and it's just by the hour. You can rent a room. They've got like
Yeah.
3 different rooms. It's pretty cool setup over there. Yeah, they've got amps,
Wicked.
they've got drums, everything you need. I always bring my own drums because I want to practice on what I'm going to play on.
Yep.
But they've got the whole setup: amps, mics, sound system.
Man.
So you can just come in, rehearse, and then get out. Excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
so let's hit some other things real quick because we're nearing the
yeah,
end, and
yep.
it's very important. How are we? Are we 28-inch biceps? I mean, dude,
Shut
come on.
up.
I've
Oh,
got I've got I've got baby arms compared to you.
no. I was talking to Rollo about this. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm this close to getting on TRT or something because my energy levels have gone way down.
Really?
Still trying to hit the gym 4 or 5 days a week. That's for longevity. Yeah,
So
boys
where are
hit the
you
gym.
going? Are you going Dragon's Lair? Are you going Powerhouse? Like, what's your Vegas gym?
Right now it's a Lifetime, which is way too expensive.
Lifetime. Yeah, yeah.
But it's nice. A lot of soccer moms out there.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I go to
That's
Lifetime
actually,
right now.
yeah.
Love it. I need to find something else because I'm now living more downtown. But I'll go to any gym. I'll hit any gym and go. It's just about getting in there and lifting hard and heavy. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. It's yeah. I mean that's the secret sauce to like just staying ahead of the curve is because most guys aren't going to do it. So if you are the guy that does do it, you're just going to be
Yeah.
that much further ahead. So that's worth it to invest time in, is hit the gym at least 3 days a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I know I'm doing bad right now. I'm just doing I don't even know. But I'm starting to do some powerlifting training. My dad's buddy,
nice.
yeah, he did it competitively, so he gave me pointers on stuff and I realized I'm
Oh
like
wow. Yeah,
though I
I grew
built
up very
yeah.
athletic too. I did gymnastics. I used
Oh
to do
wow.
all sorts of stuff like that. Can still do a backflip. I always throw
Man,
one every once in a while just to make sure I still got it.
really? Do you do it
But
on grass? How do you make sure if you
yeah,
haven't
yep,
done it
I'll
in a
do it on
while?
grass or whatever. Yeah, yep. They
You're
say
not
you
not
don't use
dying.
it, you lose it. So yeah, every once in a while I'll bust one out. It's a fun little party trick too.
Yeah. So okay, so what's okay, let's get some other things in Vegas that you like. So are you hanging out at Access Vegas when they're recording and is the after party crazy? How is that?
No, usually, yeah, it's fun. I've met, a couple of girls from there. It's just fun to chat
Yeah.
afterwards. They'll either go and grab food or whatever. Like it's nothing crazy. Like last time they went to Whataburger, you know?
Ooh.
It's just time before that, yeah, they went out to a club and it was, fun, but I've always either got something else going on.
Oh.
But I've had one or two crazy after parties.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, those guys are actually the real deal. They
Yeah.
talk the talk and they walk the walk.
Oh.
Yeah, Sartain is just an animal. That guy is all business. He's smart. He's very, very smart. But he's also charismatic. Like I just think he's a badass. That guy's so cool. And then Rollo's Rollo.
Yeah.
Rollo's so cool. Yeah, those guys are great. So yeah, and they just they are very authentic. That's the word. They're very authentic, and
Yeah.
it plays through. How you see Rollo online is how he is in real life. Same guy, Same with Sartain. Like they're just
He's doing Johnny Bravo poses.
yeah, yeah. Over there. Yeah, yeah.
Over yeah, 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 that's what it
Yep,
was doing.
yeah. Oh
Oh, that's
no,
so
he's great.
funny.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, that's
But
wicked. That is wicked. Yeah, that's great to hear. You always, because some people they go like, "Oh, you think this person's great? Really? They're
yeah,
awful."
has big dick.
You're like, "Yeah, has
No,
a
they're
big
actually
dick."
really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yep. Very cordial, nice to everybody. Yep.
yeah. Getting wet and wild in a Whataburger on a
Right.
Wednesday, ain't that right? Ain't that
Thursday night.
Thursday
Yeah.
night? Yeah, man.
But I mean,
Okay.
that just shows they're real. They're real.
Yeah,
It's like wherever it doesn't matter where they are. It's who they are and what they're doing and what they're about. Just creating a fun atmosphere for these girls to want to be
yeah,
around. It works. Yeah, they do it well.
yeah. So
Yep.
what's if you could give one piece of advice to
hmm
the rocker watching, what would that be?
Put in the time. Put in the effort because one of my favorite drummers, Neil Peart from Rush, has a great quote. It's when preparation meets opportunity. You have to have the preparation. So put in the time, put in the work to have the preparation because at some point it's going to meet opportunity. And if you meet that opportunity and you're not prepared and you're not the guy and you're not good enough, it's not going to happen. Like if I said, Rollo, I want to be your drummer, and he listened to 5 seconds of something I played and it was just garbage, he'd be like, that's cool, dude, but no. So
Yeah.
it's years of preparation. It's not giving up mentally. A lot of guys mentally say it's never going to happen. No, just stick with it. Keep working on those chops. I'm learning from my son now. I'm like, how did you play that fill? And I'm still, trying to recreate and learn new things and expand my toolbox because it's going to come in handy. So yeah, never quit learning. That's the advice I would say.
Never quit learning. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a father. How do you I guess how do you think about fatherhood at this point in your life?
I am grateful I did it when I was young. Had my first
Oh,
when I was 22, 23. I've got three: a daughter, a son, and a daughter. 20,
okay.
19, and 16. So they're all older and grown now. But it's the best thing I ever did was to have kids young. It was hard while I was young. I struggled for a while. That's what took me out of, the music industry for a little bit.
Yeah.
Raise kids, work, and do all that. But now they're all very musical. I mean, my youngest daughter is a phenomenal singer. My oldest daughter is getting into music. She's trying to write, and she always calls me with ideas. I love it. I love that they're all musical, and they, we've all just stayed close to the years. It breaks my heart when I hear people are like, oh yeah, I don't talk to my daughter. I don't talk to my son. I'm like, what? I FaceTime them all the time. They come visit. I go visit them. It's just, it's being a father's kick-ass. I love it. So
amazing.
I got lucky. My kids are amazing. I got lucky. Yeah.
That is so good. Yeah, so many people, it wouldn't it suck to have awful kids? It just suck.
I hate my kids. Yeah.
That would suck so hard.
Yeah. No, they're great kids, and they can tell me anything, and I can tell them anything. We're super close. Yeah, I love that.
Man, it's great. Yeah, I say sometimes, I'd say my parents are my best friends because they're so awesome.
Good.
But they at certain points they can kind of be like, okay, you're doing the rock stuff, like
Oh yeah, I'll put them in check sometimes. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Okay, well let's see. Okay, so we're racking up. We're wrapping up. Let's see, strip club. Okay. Yeah, I think we hit about. Let's see, what else is there? Okay, what crazy stuff? Is there anything you want to flex on the audience?
I had this vision of moving to Vegas, and look, this might make me sound like an asshole, and I accept it. I had this vision of moving to Vegas, okay, to come out here and do music. I was working construction. I hated it out in Dallas, making decent money with my brothers, building houses. And I just hated it. I hated it, wanted to get out of that life at any cost. So I took a huge pay cut, obviously, to come out here, land out in Vegas. I'm like, what do I want to do? I want to drum. That's number one. And I want to date some hot girls. And I want to bartend. I've always wanted to get into bartending. It's very social. I'm a very social guy. I like to talk. I like to, chat and everything. And so far, I got to tell you, things have been going very well. Obviously I'm drumming with Rollo, doing all that thing, but the whole bartending side, that's finally coming to fruition pretty soon. I'm going to start, at the club next door, working there, and just, who cares about the money? The money will at some point come. Obviously I don't want to be on the street, but I've been close many times, but it's been worth it to sacrifice, to follow this new dream. Yeah. Dude, Vegas, boys, out there, Vegas is everything you think it is, okay? Everything you think it is, Hangover 2, it is all that if you want it to be. So it's up to you to limit yourself and to not go too crazy. But it's been great, dude. I've gone out with some amazing women. I've, been able to drum. It's exactly the life I've always thought about living. I'm finally living it. I'm like, okay, when my kids are grown and adults themselves, what does dad want to do? What do I want to do? I want to move to Vegas, drum, and bartend. I'm following that path, and I couldn't be happier, dude. Couldn't be happier.
Man, well, on that note, anything else the audience should go check out? Should they go follow you on your Instagram? Where should they find you? Yeah,
why not? It's Jake Cope 16.
Okay.
I've got a small following on Instagram.
You call them Copeheads?
Copeheads. No, but I should. The Copettes. But yeah. I just, check out, I think I got a link on there to some of my music that my buddy has. I don't know if he makes money off that or whatever. Fine. But it's just exposure. Get out there. Yeah. And, obviously check out Rollo.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Look at this cool outro. I made it in Logic. Okay. Bye-bye.